Hello, everyone. My name is Monica, and for my current event project, I decided to do it on agriculture. The article that I chose was Sap Beetles Can Increase Damage to Corn at Harvest by Ashley Dean and Aaron Hodginson. Ashley Dean was an Iowa State University education specialist, and Aaron Hodginson was an etymology professor. So, in case you didn't know, the United States is known as the biggest producer of corn. Corn is harvested in the United States across millions of acres in many states. As corn is in high demand, it can be extremely tough on our economy to lose a heap of our harvest. Losing part of the corn harvest can be tough on consumers and farmers. Ashley Dean, um, in her article, along with Aaron Hodgson, explains how sap beetles can further damage the corn harvest. What are sap beetles? Sap beetles are usual pests in cornfields that can be distinguished from other beetles by their antennas. Sap beetles will most likely feed on already decaying plants, meaning they are secondary pests to corn because they only feed on corn ears after it's already gone to waste. These types of beetles will populate where caterpillars were once getting their food. Though the sap beetle is not a primary pest, as Dean and Hodgson say, they create a wound where ear rots and mycotoxins can develop. So here is what the beetle looks like. They always have these yellow little spots on their body. And of course, right here we see the little antennas and the little bulbs that are here at the top of their antennas is what distinguishes them from other beetles. On the other side, here on the right, is basically what corn looks like after a sap beetle has fed on it. Of course, we can see that it was already decaying, and then once the beetle started to feed on it, it began to rot. Of course, this produced mycotoxins, and that is bad for humans, which is why it basically makes the produce bad and it becomes a waste. In the article by Dean N. Hodginson, they give great advice to farmers about how they can lessen the amount of sap beetles. One way they can do this is by thoroughly checking the grain for beetles and to use insecticide treatments if necessary. Here on this side, we can see how there are two beetles on the grains. So basically, farmers would have to go through each one of these to see how many beetles there are. And if this is not as a fast procedure, of course, they can also use insecticide treatments, and this will ultimately kill the beetles, but it will make sure that we have enough produce for the consumers and that no money is lost for any farmers. Another piece of advice that Hodgson and Dean had was to consider a corn hybrid with effective Bt traits for corn earworm, and this is to minimize feeding by secondary pests. So, of course, remember sap beetles are secondary pests, so by changing to a corn hybrid, this would eliminate already a huge amount of sap beetles without having to go through as many, still go through them, but this will already give them a head start as to less sap beetles. And of course, again, here on this side, we can see how sap beetles are feeding on the corn and how it's already rotting and decaying. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation.